What's happening, party people? Thanks for tuning in. This video at the end will have a week in reviews worth of video clips. Kind of highlights from the things that I've done throughout the previous week from the last highlight reel that I put out. If you want to see more of that information, daily videos, go ahead and pop over to the Patreon site. They're free to view. You don't have to log in or nothing. You just go to the Patreon page. The link is in the description area below and watch those daily videos. I'm not stressing myself over making those daily videos, but I am making them. There's some good information in some of those videos and some people like them. Obviously, most people don't, so that's why they're going over there now. I did a clearance this past week of a few parts and items on my website as we're cleaning up things in my storage areas. We're running across things that, man, I just shouldn't have. I shouldn't be storing these things. So I'm putting them over on my website for clearance items. People that are Patreon members, they have first dibs. Sad enough, only about 10 people are going over there for their first dibs. After 3 days, I unlock them on my Patreon site for the rest of the world to have. So first, the Patreon members that are contributors to what I got going on here has the first shot at those items. Then the rest of the world that visits my Patreon site has a second shot at those items. And if they don't sell after that, people that are visiting the website robertdiy.com and scrolling through items, or people that are subscribed to my YouTube channel, when I unlock the YouTube video, will have access to them. And when I unlock them, man, they go fast because it's exposed to the world. People like freebies. Hopefully it's going to people that actually need them. One thing that we're expanding this week is more elaborate t-shirts. So this is my favorite. It was built broke. It's got the check engine light on there, the burnt valve on there, the PCV box on there. And I'm a P80 guy, and those are the things that you just got to deal with. It was built broke. Nothing you could do to stop this stuff from happening. You could try to prevent it, but it's going to happen because it was built broke. And that's why we fix them. I still believe these are incredible cars. If you get one and service it properly, these cars could last you many years. A lot of parts are still readily available. I hope I never have to give up my 850s. 850s were Volvo's attempt to stay in business. They were struggling financially after holding on to red blocks, bricks for so long. They designed a car. I think the car, supposedly, I heard it won like 50 design awards. Still nicer than a lot of things on the road. But, they need to be serviced. If you don't service them, you can run them in the ground. I tell people now, say that, for instance, these cars were $30,000 brand new. If you buy one for $2,000, you are now $28,000 away from that car being like new. So don't expect to buy a car for $500 and not put anything in it and it to last 3 or 4 years. I just replaced the engine in the car for a guy. Man, he likes the car cosmetically. It looks real good. He delivered the car to me, and I thought, man, I'll put an engine in that thing kind of easy. I had an engine. I pulled the engine out of storage. The engine needed service. I was like, wow, this engine needs timing belt, PCV, cam seals, crank seals. I got to do a lot to this engine. The parts alone, for the parts and supplies and equipment to do that engine swap, was almost $900. I was like, wow. So the cost ran up. People do what I call dirty engine swaps. They take an engine that was running out of a car. It was running. Throw it in another car. You could do that pretty cheap. You might pay $350 for the engine. You might pay $700-800 for the engine, and just rip the bad engine out, drop the good engine in, or should I say working engine in, and the car drives off. If that thing lasts 500 or 1,000 miles before it needs something else, people are okay with that. But for me, if you're going to go through the effort of putting an engine in a car, hoping to keep the car for longer than 6 months, you should probably service that engine. So, man, that was a cost that I didn't quite expect. I had to break that news to the guy. I told the guy, "Hey, I got an engine in storage. Come get it for 350." Well, he didn't come get it. He involved me into replacement of it, and I forgot to negotiate with the guy to tell him, "Hey, if I got to mess with this engine, it's going to cost a lot more." So I get the engine out of storage and start messing with it. And I had to contact the guy. I said, "Hey, man, you brought your car down here, had it towed because it wouldn't start, and it's going to cost a lot more than 350 plus my labor installing it." So the hours of reconditioning that engine was almost, it was over 10 hours. So you got the 10 hours of reconditioning the engine, and then you got the 16 hours of replacing it. That's 26 hours. That's a lot of money. So I could see why shops are telling people, "Hey, if you want to put a nice engine in that car, it'd be 4 or 5 G's." Some of your more, I guess, forgiving shops are slapping them in dirty, and they're costing a couple G's just to do that. So I gave the guy a deal on it, but the next person probably won't get a deal on it because I want to do it right. If I was going to put the engine in my car, what all would I do to the engine? That's the way that's going to go down. So just a word to the wise: if you are going to put an engine in your car, expect to service it before you put it in. Another thing I wanted to mention is, man, somebody hit another one of these cars sitting out here. Knocked the mirror off of it. It's on camera. They kept going. I tried to stop them the next day. They don't stop. They'll run you over before they stop and take responsibility for their poor driving habits. So I was going to put up a poll. Hey, what do you guys do? If you're driving down the street and you sideswipe a car, do you keep going? Or do you stop and say, "Hey, man, I made a mistake. Here's my insurance information. Get your car fixed"? I mean, really, if they would have stopped and it only damage was a mirror, I'd say, "Man, give us $100 for the mirror. Don't worry about it." But man, these people, they just keep going. And now we had one mirror get knocked off a car, and the insurance company gave us $1,000 for it. They wanted to contact the insurance company. That was on them, not on me. But do you guys stop? Do you teach your kids to stop? If you wasn't taught to stop, and you grew up and you learned what's right and what's wrong, do you stop? I try to live my life by the golden rule, which is do unto others as you would like people to do unto you. Not as you expect people to do unto you, as you would like to be treated. Treat others how you would like to be treated. That's my general, as a person, as a Christian, that's how I do my best and live my life. But some people ain't like that, man. They just come on, keep going. Then yesterday, we have somebody borrowing one of our cars, and that thing got smashed. I mean, I don't get it. People hit a car in the front, and instead of stopping immediately, they go all the way down the side, all the way out the back of the car. Like, if you see you're about to hit a car, hit your brake. Don't hit your gas or just let it wreck the whole side of the car. Man, they went from the front of the car, the corner light, all the way to the tail light. The whole side of the car is damaged. Me and Mita was on our way to a Cars and Coffee. We hear this boom on the next street, 2 houses away. I thought a telephone pole fell down on something. I shimmy around there. Somebody coming around the corner had enough room for a tractor trailer to get through, and still have more room. They hit the back of a car and went all the way up the side of the car, knocked the front of the car off too. It's like, man, there's a brake. Like, hit the brake. If you see you about to get into an accident, hit the brake. It wasn't raining or nothing. It was dry. Anyway, so I got to deal with that. Depending on how bad the car is, it's probably going to get parted out. But from the pictures I've seen, it looks drivable. I don't know why they had it towed somewhere other than the house. That brings up another subject. If you're in an accident or you teach your children what to do in an accident, what do you tell them? Here's my probably top 5 tips. I don't know what order I should put them in. I need to write it down and put them in an order. But number 1, make sure you're safe. Get into an accident, make sure your car's not in a position where it's going to get hit again. Stop where you are. Cut the engine off. If your car is losing fluids, you want to cut the engine off to minimize damage to the engine. Don't just let it keep running. So that's 2 things. If you're safe, take a few pictures and get the car out of the way so other people can continue their life. I don't know if you should leave a car in a position. Now, if there's some kind of dispute to whose fault it was, maybe leave it where it is. But if there's no dispute and nobody is injured, move the car to the side of the road and deal with that stuff. Another thing, don't admit fault. Man, you don't know what those other people were doing. I mean, you want to be alert, drive with care, but sometimes people not watching, especially now with all this distraction going on, people playing with cell phones and dilly-dallying around, doing other things other than paying attention and driving, which avoids accidents. They get into stuff. And kind of last but not least, don't let them tow your car to where you don't have access or control of it. If they tow the car to a record yard, that's their deal. They limit your access to it. They do what they want with it, and you don't have access to your car. Have them take your car to your place where you have control over what happens to it. If you live in a place where you can't have a wrecked car, you have them drop it there. You get your personal property out of it. You clean up any messes you need to clean up in that car for when the insurance company comes. They don't think this was some old, ragged out, dirty car that you didn't care about. And then you have it moved to a record yard or something. Might cost you a few bucks, but you don't want them having immediate full control access to your vehicle, especially if there's a chance that you would buy it back from the insurance company that pays for it, or you want parts off of it, or you want your personal property. Man, I made that mistake 30 years ago. I don't make that mistake no more. You bring my car to my place. And I've seen a couple pictures of this car that got hit yesterday. Somebody was driving. It didn't look like it was disabled, but they let it be towed to some record yard somewhere where I probably don't have access to it. So we're going to have to get that thing back here as quick as possible, but don't let them tow your stuff somewhere else. Anyway, those are my suggestions for dealing with an accident. Maybe I'll make a separate video for that. Then once the accident's done, man, don't let them give you peanuts for your car. If you have a car that's limited production, I've told people before I had one of my cars get hit or was in an accident and getting hit, they wrecked something, and they offered me like $3,700, $3,200 after deductible, and I told them no way. They ended up giving me 11 G's for that car, and you just don't roll over for them if you know you got a nice car, if it's had servicing, if it's a car that's in good condition. It's worth some money. There's cars just like it, sell them for a lot of money. Don't let them give you peanuts for your car. That's just my suggestion. So that's that. I don't know if I mentioned it, but we're going to be rolling out more designs on t-shirts hopefully this week. I already mentioned about the specials on parts and stuff that I put on my website. You guys probably seen the travel schedule and intent a couple days ago. If you haven't seen that video, go back and watch it. Disclose my current travel plans that I'm planning to make over the next 30 days. That'll help those of you that are in that queue or want to be in that queue respond accordingly. Now, I don't really look at requests for my appearance on YouTube. You gotta call, text, send me an email, before I'll put you in the schedule. I can't even find most of the messages that are in this YouTube page. So do be aware of that. If I haven't mentioned it already, I'm going to remix my engine swap video introduction to include more information about what to expect in doing the engine swap and cleaning up some of the verbiage in there. Another thing I wanted to kind of mention, it's no big deal. It's just kind of silly if you ask me, but I don't always agree with everybody that communicates with me about different things, but I don't hold grudges. I think it's kind of childish and definitely not Christian like to hold grudges. If you and I have a disagreement, we have a disagreement. I look at that as a isolated moment in our relationship. I get messages and have people hiding from me, blocking me, being mad at me, from way back. I had one guy years ago, somebody overheard a conversation about a product they had sold somebody, and they said something bad about it. And for some reason, they thought I gave that person that information. They overheard a conversation. And then they got on Facebook and kind of joked about it. And that person got really offended, upset. They blamed me for the person having that information. And they even called me up threatening me with violence. I'm not going to let nobody hurt me. I have people in my life that depends on me. I invited them over if they wanted to settle up. But after that, they went running around the Volvo community telling people how horrible of a person I was, like there was going to be more than 3 people that believed that. And they still kind of try to avoid me and probably don't care for me, but grow up, grow up. I had another person that sold me a car that had a salvage title. I didn't know it had a salvage title. When I delivered the money for the car, good money for the car, it was a very nice car, they didn't have the title. I said, well, I got to hold back a little bit. I need the title. And then they ended up mailing me the title, and it was salvaged. I was like, the car is nice, and I know that they salvage cars for any stupid reason, but it wasn't told to me that the car had a salvage title. I sure would not have agreed. Me, I don't need a car. I would not have agreed to pay the good price that I was paying for the car if I knew it had a salvage title. That was the most expensive car that I ever purchased, other than something I got financed through a finance company. I've paid more for maybe 3 other cars in my life, 4 at the most, including a couple new cars that I've purchased. But as far as cash used car, I never paid that much for a vehicle. And it had a salvage title. I wouldn't have done it. I said, man, I can't do it if it had a salvage. So we got into a disagreement. Now, I call that my bad for entering into an agreement to purchase a vehicle that I didn't see the title on. But I trust this person. We had friends and customer relation stuff, and I've done a lot of work to the car. The car had like about $18,000 put into it prior to me buying it. I didn't know it had a salvage title. That matters to me as somebody that was looking at it as a little bit of an investment, even though cars in generally are not investments. But man, I was surprised. So I told the person, I said, hey man, you did me wrong. I need you to make this right. I still paid them as scheduled. I picked up the vehicle, drove off with it, still owed them about $1,500 on it. And when I got the title, my schedule wasn't to pay them the balance for 30 days or so, but I was acting like I wasn't going to pay them. And anyway, I don't hold grudges, It got nasty when I was kind of pressuring them about this salvage title deal. And I just kind of ignored them because I had some extreme personal things going on that is way more important than some car transaction deal. And those people still think I'm holding a grudge. Years later, it's like, grow up. I had a guy that, man, I met, spent some time with. And if I think we're friends and I see you in some BS, I'm not going to co-sign on that. And I'm going to encourage you to do the right thing in your BS. And man, I had a guy get real mad at me over some of that stuff, personal stuff. And then he went on my YouTube channel spreading his, I guess, dislike and frustration, lying about things that we had done together. It's like, grow up, you know. But I don't hold grudges. So, same with selling parts and stuff, man. People, usually people from overseas, it's worse with people overseas than people in the country, because people overseas are very concerned about getting or not getting what they paid for. And when it's overseas, it's a big deal. You know, it's hard to get people to do the right thing. First of all, I live by the golden rule. So if I tell you I'm selling you a good working part, I'm going to sell you a good working part. If you get it and it's the wrong part, my bad, man, I'll make it right. I don't make you pay for shipping it back or nothing like that. Now, if it's a good part, I'm going to want it back before I send you the one that I was supposed to send you. But if somehow it got mixed up in a box, or I thought it was what you wanted or something, I'll make it right. It's not always all about money with me. Most of you people already know that. Those of you that know me know that. Man, people overseas, man, when they want some parts, they get me involved with hours of negotiation. Now, as a person that has to live on this planet in this great country, it's expensive to live here. Uh, Time is money. We've heard that saying. If I spend 10 hours negotiating 6 parts with you, and the deal doesn't go through because you're straining over in that, it's like I've lost 10 hours of my time. I've lost $500 worth of time fooling around over $150 worth of parts that you never bought. It's like, why? Why are we doing this? But, you know, I had one guy recently, I don't know, he said he sent me some money, $25 or something. I'm like, I've been negotiating with you over these 6 parts you want. I went and purchased parts that you didn't buy. And it's, you know, I'm not going to get my time back for this negotiations. And now you got a grudge with me or something. It's like, whatever, you know. Grow up, people. We're grown. Anyway, for me, you can carry grudges. You live any way you want. And I know you've probably been burnt by other people, stuff like that. Not by me, you know. I don't intentionally burn somebody. And if I do, by accident, I'm going to make it right. And I'm not going to cry about it for 4 or 5 years or run up and down the street telling people about it. So there's that. Now, if you steal from me, I'm not going to hold a grudge, but I'm probably not going to let you steal from me again. Point in case, the crummy guy that stole a car from me. It's like, I don't have a bad, ill feeling toward the guy. Stole a lot of money from me, and I'm not going to put myself in a position to let him steal again. And he stole so much, he's not going to try to steal from me again. But I don't hold a grudge against the guy. If the guy called me today, wanted to make it right, God bless him. That's his deal to deal with in his life. That's not my cross to bear, that's his. So that's that. I hope you guys understand. I don't hold grudges. So don't come at me 2-3 years later. So I know you're mad at me. No, I'm not. You know, grow up. So anyway, let me go ahead and wrap this up. Let you guys see the video clips that I have for you for this week. And again, check the website, check the Patreon site for clearances that I'm getting stuff just cleared out of here. If you haven't watched the travel schedule video, do watch that. And hope you all have a great day. Thanks for watching. I'm sorry this intro went so long. Catch you later. Welcome to Hanging Out with Robert. That's me. This video contains things that I encounter throughout the day. If for some reason I complete a task and you would like to see the details, you could click on the link in the description area below. This video also contains tips and tricks that I learned throughout the years. I plan on leaving this video accessible for about 30 days. After that, you can view it through my Patreon account. Thank you very much for watching. Put the icing on the cake for the day. Took Pepper to go get something to eat. Got to where we were going. Flat on this tire back here. So I had to come home, get my air pump, and air up that tire to get home. We'll see what the pressure is in the morning. Kicked off the day fixing the dash. Now I'm delivering parts. Trent's 850. Man, he's got this thing, what you call personalized. Picked up a hood from me, so I'm hoodless again. So got this thing lowered. Got his personal touches on there. It's his fun car. That's what you do. Get something cheap and have fun. There it is, folks. Dan the man about to put the final touches on this 850 manual. It's a 95? 95. Man, it's probably the best year because it's got that OBD1.
Yeah.
And a port for the OBD2.
Yeah.
And he is doing all the maintenance on it.
Oh, yeah.
So when somebody climbs in it,
new calipers,
they're going to be good to go.
That thing's going to be rock.
Kicking off the Tinker Day, I was thinking about doing a brake caliper. I think I'm going to wait till I get to Alex's. But I come out here, I got a flat. I wonder if it's from that truck running me off the road yesterday. I'll pull that video so you guys can see it. Man, this sucks. Doesn't look like I drove it anywhere like that. Maybe just up here to the sidewalk. So let me see if this thing will air up and hold air. Crazy. Well, I see a nail there. Let me see if that thing is leaking. Go get some soapy water. Spray some glass cleaner on that thing. It's just bubbling right up. So I should be able to get that patched. I'm gonna take it somewhere and try it. Not sure how fast it's leaking, so let me dial in a tire shop. I think Discount Tire fixes stuff like that for free. I'm going to replace my spark plugs. Blue box, baby. Very normal to see oil puddled up in here. Just clean it out. Replace your oil cap gasket. If your oil cap is original, you may want to consider replacing that if it's not tight on there. Like mine is tight. I think it's been replaced. And you want to make sure your gasket is soft. If it's hard, it needs to be replaced. Mine is halfway there. It's a little hard. I'm here to pick a few parts, and my battery's almost dead, so I'm not going to be doing no filming. Here with Howard, trying to figure out why the mirrors are not working. The fuse are good, so we're going to pull the center console up, check that out. He had a problem with the car not shifting out of park, but that seems to be working fine now. Knock the knob down a little bit. Next, we got a locked up glove box door. We're gonna get in there and fix that. That little piece right there broke off the latching mechanism, so this part of the glove box door latch system needs to be replaced. As you can see, when you have the seat control in, it doesn't recline. It just makes a noise. The cable has shifted and undone itself from the transmission. So as the video instructs, you have to peel the seat up high enough to get at the cable and shorten the sleeve of the cable And when you do that, it forces the end back into the transmission that allows the seat to function properly. Come over here and test it, and it is rocking and rolling. Look at that thing move. So I got to get the leather pulled back down, reset this thing to a reclined position, zip tie the areas that I broke the hog ties in, and we'll be good to go. Usually after this thing has been jacked up and run different ways, you have to run the button like that to reset it to a normal travel area. Next up, we're gonna do a timing belt on this thing. I didn't notice it had 960 wheels on it. Isn't that something? Timing belt, probably water pump. I hadn't seen one of these idler rollers for a long time. That matches that tensioner roller. It's original. What does that make it? 27 years old?
No. What? This is 98.
Still cracking.
Yeah. So this is 98. So it's 24 years old.
26.
24.
Nice and steady. Purring like a kitten. Kicking off the Tinker Day with this 850. Had a hard time getting it up on ramps. We're gonna do a transmission flush, AC compressor, clutch gap, and this throttle body got stuck on me. When I went to Watt, it's hanging up there. As you can see, the stop is here, and probably 80-90% throttle. That thing got stuck open. That stuff is dark.
Is it dark?
Very dark.
Oh.
So this is a good thing. Just a couple drops of WD-40 there and over in the spring area, and this thing is good to go. It's going all the way over to the stop, and it's spring. Got the zip ties and the clutch. That thing is pretty tight now. I am here with Dan the man, loading up the U-Haul with some parts that my good friend Dan and his son are graciously donating to the cause. There's an engine in there,
Yeah.
transmission. The engine, we don't know, may have a burnt valve or something, may have a blown head gasket.
We know
Or-
it's not stuck and it's not rattling when you turn it over.
Yeah,
You know
so
that.
it's rolling over, and that's why I'm taking it. Probably make something out of it. We got an interior with front R seats, pretty clean interior that I'm gonna use for, let's call that one Rosie. We just gave that one a name.
Okay.
And we're here picking parts off of this S70 that unfortunately was, man, almost T-boned, but it hit so far on the front, can't really call it a T-bone.
Yeah, they hit the
So the car was hit like
bang.
right here on this angle. Was he turning left?
He was turning left.
Okay.
He was turning left. She ran the stop sign doing 60.
They talk about people surviving automobile accidents, and some people survive automobile accidents like this in their main. You know, they got broken arms, broken legs, legs trapped under the car,
Yep.
just all kind of stuff that I mean, you're glad to be alive, but you just don't know the difference between being in a vehicle that you won't have one broken bone and being in a vehicle that you're wearing casts for weeks and sometimes never can walk straight again.
3 for 3. This is my third child that's had a total collision.
In a P80, all P80s,
All
right?
P80s.
Uh-huh.
One was an 850 and one was a V70R and one was a S70 T5.
Mm.
And the other one was an 850R.
Okay.
And everybody walked away, and they all were calamities. I mean,
Both sides of the floor soaking wet on lemonade. When I bought this car, it had a moisture problem, and it seems to have another one. So I'm gonna pull this thing out and make sure that my air conditioner condensing drain is there, and probably run something down there, make sure it's clear. Because running this AC lately, it's wet all the way up there. So it's maybe clogged and causing a backup. All right, folks, I had this dash out, and this one's on me. That thing is totally disconnected. So let me connect that, quit dumping water in here, and get this thing home and put a dehumidifier on it.
When I first got the throttle valve.
Here we go. Time to put some parts in here. Engine and trans. I'm gonna drop that thing right here, and hopefully it won't fall through the floor. Nah, it should be fine. Let's see if I can get this out of here by myself. Kicking it off. Back at Tony's, we got a better slave cylinder now. Just like the one that come out, look like twins. Let's get this thing in. Oh, it's got the Volvo ground off. Poor baby. There it is, all cleaned up, hit with the wire wheel. I'm done with it. Just need to get that rear main seal replaced. And I can put that flywheel back on. Here's the Volvo rear main seal tool I'm about to use to install this rear main seal. However, I seen this in the kit. What in the world is this for? So if somebody knows what that's for and how to use it, let me know. I already pried the seal out, but I'm just not sure what this is for. So let me oil this seal up and get this seal installed. There it is. Clutch kit secure. Guide out. Ready for the transmission. But that will have to be another day. What's happening, people? We got another delivery in the mail because, man, these things are expensive. But a lot of folks don't know about these. I'm kind of surprised. And they're called 3-way LED light bulbs. 120 volt. They have 3 different settings on them. Anytime you're dealing with a 3-way light bulb lamp, you want to try to stay away from the maximum setting. This lamp, the maximum setting is 120 watt. So this bulb that I put in here that goes 25, 60, 100 watts should be safe. So it is off. That's the first setting. That's the second setting, a little brighter. And that's the third setting, a lot brighter. Let's see how it illuminates the room. I'm gonna cut this lamp off, and we're gonna look at the light over here. First setting, second setting, third setting. So it brightens up each set. It's a 3-way light bulb. Off, first setting, second setting, third setting. There you have it. If you got any questions, post them below. Back at it. About to mount this transmission. Got that surface all cleaned up on both sides. Did that day before yesterday. Didn't work yesterday, so it's time to get this thing bolted up. And then we'll work on getting the steering rack attached to the lines. Then we'll work on getting the steering rack attached to the subframe and keep working towards getting this thing done. Yet another hurdle. Here's the tie rod in outer for one side. Here's the outer tie rod in for the other side. However, this one actually came with a grease fitting. I ain't got no grease gun to grease that up. And it didn't come with the bolt from the inner side, so I got to take the bolt from the existing one. That kind of sucks. I don't even understand what's going on with these part suppliers these days. But I'm trucking along. I got the brake hoses installed, getting ready to do the pads. I got the axle in on the other side. Didn't put the axle in on this side because it seems destroyed. And I don't know if he wants to try to use that axle or not. And we're doing pretty good. After we replace the brake pads, we're going to bleed the calipers and the clutch system. So I don't know how much longer I got, maybe 2 hours left, but I'm gonna work on getting that tie rod in on and the hardware I need for the other tie rod in, and ask him if he wants to use that tie rod in or find another one. And then I'm going to change these brake pads. If you made it this far, I trust that you found some information that was either useful or entertaining, so go ahead and hit the like button. And if you would like notification of future videos that I post, please subscribe to the channel. I appreciate your support. You can follow me on other social media apps by looking for @RobertDIY. Some form of that should bring up the other channels that I have on places like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and so forth. If for some reason you need some more personal help, go to my website at robertdiy.com and use the phone number that I have posted there to send me a text message, or you can email me. If you have questions or comments, please make a comment below. And if you'd like to make some kind of financial contribution to what I got going on here, go to my channel and hit the more link at the end of the introduction statement, and it'll show you different ways that you can support me financially. Again, thanks for watching. I hope you have a great day.